First contact's facade. The quantum sensors hidden within Mount Everest detected the Nexus warship 3 years before it entered the solar system. Commander Elena Santos stood in Earth's true command center, buried 2 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean, watching the holographic display of the approaching vessel. The room hummed with technology that, according to humanity's carefully crafted facade, shouldn't exist for another 1,000 years. Status of Operation Looking Glass, Elena asked, her neural implant translating the thought into audible words. All false satellites and primitive technology signatures are in place, Director Marcus Chen responded, his fingers dancing through augmented reality interfaces invisible to anyone without quantum-enhanced vision. As far as the Nexus can tell, we're still fighting over oil and launching rockets with chemical propulsion. The greatest deception in human history had begun decades ago, when their first quantum telescopes detected the Nexus Federation, an alliance of alien species that uplifted primitive civilizations through a combination of technological superiority and subtle subjugation. Humanity had made a different choice. Instead of racing to announce their presence to the stars, they had gone silent. Deep, hidden. Every visible sign of human advancement was carefully calculated. The polluted cities were maintained by nanobots that could clean the atmosphere in hours, but instead generated precisely the kind of environmental damage expected from a pre-unification civilization. The nuclear power plants were facades housing zero-point energy reactors. Even the ongoing regional conflicts were elaborately staged performances, fought with weapons deliberately designed to appear primitive. Nexus vessel entering lunar orbit, announced Admiral Sarah Patel, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic display. Their scanning technology is exactly as our deep space probes reported, sophisticated, but blind to quantum state manipulations. Elena allowed herself a small smile. The Nexus, for all their supposed advancement, still thought in linear terms. They searched for radio waves while humanity had moved beyond electromagnetic communication. They looked for heat signatures while Earth's military used zero-temperature quantum states. They sought nuclear radiation while human weapons manipulated the fabric of space-time itself. Begin Phase 1 of the reception, Elena commanded. Across the globe, carefully positioned primitive military forces began responding exactly as a frightened, disunified world should. Missile silos that hadn't actually housed nuclear weapons in decades made a show of preparing for launch. Radar stations designed to appear barely functional broadcast their discovery of the alien vessel using outdated electromagnetic frequencies. In the grand theater that Earth had become, every human knew their role. Political leaders would appear divided and fearful. Scientists would seem awestruck by technology that Earth had surpassed centuries ago. Military commanders would posture with weapons that hadn't been part of their real arsenal since Elena's grandmother's time. Nexus vessel is broadcasting first contact protocols, Marcus reported. Their AI is attempting to access our primitive computer networks. Elena nodded, watching as the alien AI encountered exactly what it expected to find. A fragmented global internet running on binary computing architecture. The quantum AI that actually managed human civilization remained undetectable, operating in dimensional spaces the Nexus hadn't discovered existed. They're launching observation pods, Sarah noted. Stealth technology that they believe is beyond our ability to detect. Let them look, Elena replied. Let them see exactly what we want them to see. The observation pods would find a world seemingly ripe for uplifting, a civilization on the brink of either unification or self-destruction. They would see nations stockpiling nuclear weapons while struggling with climate change. They would detect early fusion experiments and crude attempts at quantum computing, everything calculated to present Earth as a primitive world of great potential, just waiting for a superior civilization to guide them to the stars. They would never suspect that the creatures they fought to uplift had already ascended far beyond their understanding. That humanity's true civilization existed in layers of reality the Nexus couldn't perceive. That Earth's defense systems weren't the crude missiles, and laser platforms they could detect, but the fundamental forces of physics itself, harnessed and controlled at the quantum level. Their diplomatic vessel will arrive within 48 hours, Marcus said. The Nexus believes they're following first contact protocols established over 1,000 years of peaceful expansion. Elena's smile grew slightly, and will give them exactly the first contact they expect. A primitive world, filled with wonder at their advanced technology. A species ready to be guided, to be shaped, to be controlled. The greatest predators, after all, were the ones their prey never suspected existed. Humanity had learned this lesson well, and now they would teach it to the galaxy. Let the show begin, Elena commanded, and across the Earth, the greatest performance in human history continued its flawless execution. The web we weave. The Nexus diplomatic vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere with all the subtlety of a peacock's display. Its crystalline hull scattered rainbow refractions across the clouds, a deliberate show of technological superiority that made Commander Elena Santos struggle to keep from laughing. From her position in the primitive United Nations delegation, she watched through apparently simple optical devices that were actually quantum state sensors. They really do love their theatrics. Marcus Chen's thoughts reached her through their neural link, encrypted in ways the Nexus couldn't even theorize existed. He was stationed in Beijing, playing the role of a wide-eyed human scientist about to experience his first alien encounter. The Nexus ship landed in the designated area outside UN headquarters in New York, exactly where humanity's hidden quantum grid could analyze every aspect of their technology. The vessel's shields rippled with energy that was impressive by Nexus standards, but laughably inefficient compared to Earth's zero-point field manipulators. High Ambassador Vexilon emerged from the ship, a towering figure with iridescent scales and 4 arms. The alien's ceremonial armor contained what they considered to be undetectable surveillance devices, each one faithfully reporting back to the Nexus fleet in orbit. Every single transmission was intercepted, analyzed, and allowed to continue by Earth's quantum AI networks. Greetings, people of Earth. Vexilon's translation matrix converted their harmonics into human languages. We come in peace, representing the Nexus Federation, a coalition of advanced civilizations dedicated to uplifting promising young species. Elena stepped forward in her role as the UN Secretary-General's chief advisor, maintaining an expression of appropriate awe and slight nervousness. Welcome to Earth, High Ambassador. We are honored by your presence. Every word was carefully chosen to reinforce the Nexus' preconceptions about human psychological development. The following hours unfolded like a perfectly choreographed dance. The Nexus delegation presented what they believed to be overwhelming demonstrations of their technological prowess: matter replication, gravity manipulation, faster-than-light communication. Each demonstration was met with carefully calculated responses of amazement from the human observers, while quantum sensors recorded the profound limitations of Nexus science. They're still using tachyons for FTL communication. Sarah Patel's thoughts reached Elena through the quantum network. They haven't even discovered basic reality state manipulation. The Admiral's amusement was clear in the neural transmission. The diplomatic reception that followed was another masterpiece of human deception. World leaders played their parts flawlessly. The American president expressed cautious optimism. The Chinese premier spoke of peaceful cooperation. The Russian chancellor maintained a carefully crafted, suspicious stance. Each interaction was designed to present humanity exactly as the Nexus expected. A species on the brink of global unification, but not quite there. Vexilon moved through the gathering with the confidence of someone who believed they held all the cards. Your world shows great promise, they told Elena during a private moment. The Nexus can help you overcome your current challenges: environmental degradation, energy scarcity, political division. That's very generous, Elena responded, allowing a hint of eagerness to color her tone. Though some of my colleagues have expressed concerns about losing our autonomy, the subtle probe was calculated to elicit exactly the response it received. The Nexus believes in preserving cultural independence, Vexlon assured her with practiced diplomacy. We merely provide guidance and technology. All member species maintain their sovereignty. The lie was delivered with perfect sincerity, betrayed only by subtle biochemical markers that Earth's quantum sensors detected instantly. Throughout the reception, Nexus observers remained completely unaware that the very air they breathed was analyzing their biology. The floor beneath their feet was mapping their technology, and every photon that touched their bodies was feeding data to Earth's true defense network. In orbit, their fleet continued what they thought was covert surveillance of Earth's military capabilities. They observed missile silos that hadn't contained actual weapons in decades, armies equipped with carefully crafted obsolete technology, and power plants deliberately designed to appear inefficient. Their psychological profile is developing exactly as predicted, Marcus reported through the quantum link. They see us as primitive but promising, divided but desperate for unity, technologically limited but eager to advance. Elena maintained her diplomatic smile, while inwardly appreciating the irony. The Nexus believed they were witnessing humanity's first steps into a larger galaxy. In reality, they were watching a performance so elaborate that it had become a form of art. The true extent of human advancement remained perfectly hidden. The quantum AI networks that managed Earth's civilization operated in dimensional spaces the Nexus couldn't perceive. The zero-point energy grid that powered human society remained invisible to their scans. The biosynthetic augmentations that enhance human capabilities appeared as ordinary flesh and blood to their sensors. As the diplomatic reception wound down, Vexlon made their expected offer. We would be honored to begin the process of integrating Earth into the Nexus Federation. Our first step would be to establish a technological exchange program. Elena shared meaningful looks with other world leaders, all playing their assigned roles. We would need to discuss this among our various nations, she replied, presenting exactly the kind of political hesitation the Nexus had encountered on 100 other worlds. What the Nexus didn't know was that humanity had already advanced far beyond anything they could offer. Earth didn't need their guidance, their technology, or their protection. But humanity would continue to play the role of the eager student, learning everything they could about their would-be teachers. After all, knowledge was power, and humanity had learned long ago that the greatest power lay in being underestimated. Masks of technology. 3 months into the technological exchange program, the Nexus believed they were making excellent progress with their newest potential members. High Ambassador Vexlon stood in what they thought was humanity's most advanced research facility, a carefully constructed facade built beneath the Antarctic ice. They watched as human scientists pretended to be amazed by basic antimatter containment technology. What the Nexus couldn't see was Dr. Maya Patel, daughter of Admiral Sarah Patel, monitoring their every reaction through quantum-entangled sensors that appeared to be ordinary security cameras. The primitive facility they were touring was actually a masterwork of theatrical engineering, designed to showcase exactly the level of technology the Nexus expected to find. Their patronizing attitude would be amusing if it wasn't so calculated. Maya transmitted through the quantum network to Commander Elena Santos, who was coordinating the deception from the true command center. They genuinely believe they're helping us understand basic particle physics. The Nexus delegation moved through the facility, their own hidden sensors recording everything they saw. They observed carefully staged experiments in fusion power, early quantum computing, and primitive force field generation. Each demonstration was designed to fail in specific ways, reinforcing humanity's appearance of technological inadequacy. Remarkable progress, Vexlon commented, watching a containment field fluctuate exactly as planned. With our guidance, you'll achieve stable antimatter containment within a decade. The alien administrator was completely unaware that the humans had mastered antimatter manipulation centuries ago and now used it to power their waste recycling systems. In orbit, the Nexus science vessel Eternal Discovery conducted what they believed were covert scans of Earth's infrastructure. Their sensors detected a planet struggling with energy efficiency, pollution, and technological limitations. They never realized that the pollution was generated by nanobots that could clean the atmosphere in hours, or that the power grid they detected was an elaborate hologram concealing zero-point energy collectors. The Nexus Academy has approved your first group of human students, Vexilon announced during a meeting with Earth's scientific leadership. They will receive basic instruction in advanced physics and engineering. The offer was met with appropriate enthusiasm from the human delegation. What the Nexus didn't know was that the students were actually some of humanity's most sophisticated quantum AI specialists, their enhanced intellects masked by biosynthetic camouflage. They would learn far more about Nexus technology than their teachers intended to reveal. In Washington, D.C., Elena attended another diplomatic function, maintaining her role as the eager but cautious UN representative. "Your generosity continues to amaze us," she told Vexilon, noting the subtle biochemical markers that indicated the alien sense of superiority. "Though some of our scientists are concerned about the pace of technological integration." "A natural concern," Vexilon assured her. "The Nexus has vast experience in managing technological advancement for developing civilizations. We understand the importance of maintaining social stability during periods of rapid progress." Elena nodded appreciatively while inwardly marking another confirmation of the Nexus's true agenda. Every interaction revealed more about their methods of cultural manipulation and technological control. The quantum network archived and analyzed each new piece of information, building an increasingly detailed understanding of their would-be overlords. Deep beneath the Pacific, in humanity's true research centers, scientists studied the Nexus's technological limitations with growing confidence. The aliens' dependence on tachyon fields for faster-than-light travel, their crude approach to quantum mechanics, and their limited understanding of dimensional engineering all confirmed humanity's technological superiority. "They're preparing to offer us membership in their defense alliance," Marcus Chen reported through the Quantum Link. "Their fleet movements suggest their positioning for what they consider a show of force, a demonstration of their military capabilities." Elena processed this information with quiet satisfaction. The Nexus followed the same pattern with every world they uplifted. First came the technological exchange, then the defense agreement, and finally, the subtle but complete integration into their hierarchy of control. "Let them prepare their demonstration," Elena transmitted back. "Our sensors could use a closer look at their weapons technology, primitive as it is." The greatest irony was that the Nexus believed they were being subtle. Their hidden observers never realized they were being observed. Their covert scans never detected the quantum sensors analyzing their every move. Their secret evaluations of Earth's military capability were recorded, studied, and allowed to continue. In the Antarctic facility, Maya watched the Nexus delegation conclude their tour. The aliens left with exactly the data they were meant to collect. Their reports would confirm exactly what the Nexus expected to find: a primitive world making its first tentative steps toward advanced technology, guided by their benevolent overlords. The truth remained perfectly hidden in dimensional spaces the Nexus couldn't perceive, in quantum states their sensors couldn't detect, and in human minds augmented far beyond anything they could imagine. Earth's true civilization continued to operate invisible to their observers, advancing and preparing for the moment when the masks would finally fall away. That moment was coming sooner than the Nexus suspected. In their arrogance, they were about to make a fatal mistake, one that would force humanity to reveal just how far they had surpassed their would-be teachers. The turning point. The first sign that the Nexus patience was wearing thin came 6 months into the cultural exchange. High Ambassador Vexilon's carefully maintained diplomatic facade cracked during a meeting with Earth's Security Council, their iridescent scales flickering with barely contained frustration. "Your continued hesitation regarding the defense treaty is concerning," Vexilon stated, their translator struggling to mask the underlying threat in their harmonics. "The galaxy is a dangerous place. Without Nexus protection, Earth would be vulnerable to less benevolent civilizations." Commander Elena Santos, watching through quantum-enhanced senses, noticed the subtle shift in the ambassador's biochemical signatures. The Nexus was moving ahead of schedule, pushed by something their human observers hadn't yet detected. There are factions within the Nexus growing impatient. Marcus Chen's thoughts reached her through the quantum network. Their deep space arrays are detecting something that has them scared, something they think is heading toward their territory. The truth, though the Nexus didn't know it, was that they had detected the echo of humanity's true deep space operations. Earth's quantum phase ships, invisible to conventional sensors, had been mapping Nexus space for decades. The aliens had finally caught a glimpse of their own observers, and it terrified them. Perhaps a demonstration of our defensive capabilities would ease your concerns, Vexilon suggested, attempting to regain their diplomatic composure. The Nexus fleet could conduct exercises in your solar system. Elena shared carefully choreographed glances with other Security Council members. That would be unprecedented, she replied, allowing the right note of uncertainty to color her voice. Our military leaders would need assurances about the scale and nature of such exercises. What followed was exactly what humanity's predictive AI models had anticipated. The Nexus, convinced of their technological superiority and growing increasingly concerned about unknown threats, decided to force the issue. 3 days later, without warning, 50 Nexus warships emerged from hyperspace in the solar system. Their energy signatures blazed across conventional sensors, a deliberate show of force meant to awe and intimidate Earth's primitive defenses. How unfortunate. Vexilon's message reached Earth's capitals. It seems a rogue faction of our fleet has decided to conduct unauthorized exercises. Please remain calm. The Nexus will handle this internal matter. It was a classic Nexus tactic, one they had used on dozens of worlds. Manufacture a crisis, then offer protection from it. Their sensors showed Earth's military responding exactly as expected. Missile silos opened, revealing their dummy warheads. Primitive fighter jets scrambled from their bases. Naval vessels moved into defensive positions with their obsolete weapon systems. In the true command center beneath the Pacific, Elena watched the Nexus fleet's movements with cold amusement. Their positioning for their demonstration, she transmitted to the quantum network, exactly as predicted. The Nexus fleet admiral's voice boomed across Earth's communication channels. People of Earth, remain calm. We will demonstrate our defensive capabilities by neutralizing a small asteroid. Their targeting systems locked onto a celestial body they had positioned months ago. What happened next was not in their script. As the Nexus fleet prepared to fire, their sensors detected an energy surge from Earth's moon. Before they could react, a quantum phase shift rippled through space. The asteroid they had intended to destroy simply vanished. For a moment, confusion reigned in the Nexus fleet. Their sensors, designed to detect conventional energy weapons and shield systems, could barely process what had happened. The asteroid hadn't been destroyed. It had been shifted into another dimensional state, using technology that shouldn't exist for another 1,000 years by their estimates. Interesting choice of target. Elena's voice, suddenly stripped of its diplomatic deference, reached every ship in the Nexus fleet. That asteroid was actually a quantum-entangled sensor array. We placed it there 3 years ago to study your propulsion signatures. The Nexus fleet admiral's response crackled with alarm. This is impossible. Your civilization doesn't have the capability to manipulate quantum states at an astronomical scale. Elena interrupted. You're right. According to your understanding of our technology, we don't. That's rather the point. Across the solar system, humanity's carefully maintained facade began to shift. The primitive satellites the Nexus had been monitoring transformed, quantum camouflage dissolving to reveal arrays of technology beyond their comprehension. The missile silos they had dismissed as crude nuclear launchers opened to reveal dimension-shifting defense platforms. Your demonstration is appreciated, Elena continued, her voice now carrying the weight of humanity's true authority. But perhaps it's time we provided one of our own. The moon itself seemed to flicker, and suddenly, the Nexus fleet's sensors detected thousands of quantum anomalies surrounding their ships. Each one represented a human defense platform that had been there all along, invisible to their primitive scanning technology. In orbit, Admiral Sarah Patel's voice joined the transmission. "Your ships are currently targeted by temporal phase disruptors. We could shift your entire fleet into a parallel dimension before your weapons could even power up. Would you like a demonstration?" The Nexus fleet hung in space, their supposed show of force transformed into a revelation of their own technological inadequacy. Everything they thought they knew about Earth was unraveling, and the truth was far more terrifying than they could have imagined. The greatest predator, after all, was the one you never saw coming. Galaxy's wake-up call. In the stunned silence that followed humanity's revelation, High Ambassador Vexilon stood in Earth's true command center, their multicolored scales pale with shock. The holographic displays surrounding them showed technology that, by Nexus understanding, should have been impossible for millennia. How? They managed to ask, their translator struggling to convey the depth of their disbelief. "How long have you been technologically superior to the Nexus?" Commander Elena Santos finished, no longer maintaining her diplomatic facade. "We achieved quantum phase manipulation before your scouts first entered our galaxy. We mastered dimensional engineering while you were still discovering basic antimatter containment." The quantum displays showed the Nexus fleet still frozen in space, surrounded by weapons they couldn't comprehend. Every ship's computer system had been penetrated by human quantum AI the moment they entered the solar system. Their crews were only now realizing that their mighty vessels had never been under their control. "The Nexus's pattern was always the same," Marcus Chen explained, his augmented form now visible to the alien delegation. "Find developing civilizations, demonstrate technological superiority, offer protection, and slowly strip away their independence. We decided to play a different game." Through quantum-entangled sensors, they watched realization spread through the Nexus fleet as ship after ship discovered the truth. The primitive nuclear weapons they had dismissed, quantum state manipulators that could rewrite the laws of physics in localized space, the polluted atmosphere they had offered to help clean, a complex network of nanobots that could reshape matter at the molecular level. "Your civilization's fundamental mistake," Admiral Sarah Patil added, her neural interface projecting her presence simultaneously across every Nexus ship, "was assuming that technological advancement must be visible, that progress must be announced, that power must be displayed." In orbit, the Nexus fleet admiral watched in horror as their sensors finally penetrated the quantum camouflage hiding Earth's true capabilities. The planet's entire biosphere was an integrated defense system. Every living thing, from the largest whale to the smallest bacteria, was part of a vast biological quantum computer network. "We could have revealed ourselves at any time," Elena continued. "We could have dominated the galaxy, enforced our will on other civilizations. Instead, we chose to watch, to learn, to understand." The holographic displays shifted, showing the true extent of human expansion. Quantum phase ships had mapped the entire galaxy. Dimensional observatories had studied thousands of civilizations. Human quantum AI networks had penetrated the deepest secrets of space and time itself. "The threats you detected approaching your territory," Maya Patel spoke up, her quantum-enhanced mind processing millions of calculations per second. "Those were echoes of our deep space research vessels. We've been studying something far more significant than territorial expansion." The displays shifted again, showing astronomical phenomena that the Nexus had never detected. Quantum rifts in space-time, dimensional anomalies that threatened the very fabric of reality, and evidence of civilizations that had transcended physical existence entirely. "The galaxy faces challenges you cannot imagine," Elena explained. "Threats that cannot be fought with tachyon beams or antimatter warheads. We needed to understand how civilizations like the Nexus would react to superior technology, whether you would respond with fear, aggression, or wisdom." Vexilon, their diplomatic training shattered by the scope of what they were witnessing, asked the question that burned in every Nexus mind. "What happens now?" Elena's expression softened slightly. Now we offer you a real choice, not the illusion of choice you give to your protectorates, but a genuine opportunity. The Nexus can continue its pattern of domination and control, in which case we will be forced to intervene. Or, Vexlon prompted. Or we can forge a genuine partnership, one based on mutual respect and the understanding that the universe is far larger and more mysterious than either of our civilizations fully comprehend. We can face the true challenges together, as equals. The quantum displays showed Nexus ships receiving data packets containing proof of these greater threats, carefully selected information that would challenge their understanding without overwhelming it. The gift of knowledge, freely given, was humanity's first genuine offering. The choice is yours, Alina concluded. But know this, the age of deception is over. Humanity will no longer hide in the shadows. The galaxy must prepare for what's coming, and we intend to ensure that preparation is guided by wisdom rather than fear, cooperation rather than domination. As the Nexus leadership grappled with this paradigm shift, Earth's quantum networks detected the first ripples of change spreading through the galaxy. Other civilizations, hidden like humanity, began to reveal themselves. The careful balance of power that had maintained the galaxy's status quo for millennia was transforming. The era of pretense was ending. The true game, humanity knew, was only beginning. And this time, all players would know the real stakes.